right, so one of my favorite things to do is to begin any project by Googling a definition. So, for the purpose of this assignment, I searched the definition of the phrase current event. What I found was present time news events concerning important people, places, things, and ideas, also called current affairs. While this definition is pretty vague, it did give me a pretty good jumping off point. When I read the words important people, the only people that seemed important to me over the last weekend were my family. I'll get to why in a minute. For me, the people that I'm referring to are my mom, my dad, my sisters Amanda, Sam, and Jamie, and my nephew Logan. They are the reason that I do everything in my life, and the reason that I strive for greatness in all the things I do, and they're also the reason that I care so much about the world around me. So I guess I could pretty much stand up here and talk about my family all day, but I bet you'd all be wondering how in the world it could tie into current events. Well, again, remember the definition of current events is involving important people, which I happen to think is pretty subjective. So this weekend, when most people were enjoying turkey, pumpkin pie, and cramming too many family members into a too small of house, my family was enjoying cafeteria food, hospital rooms, and the fear that one family member could potentially never wake up. So my little sister Sam, she is 20, and she goes to the Lethbridge College here. She's a nursing student. And on Friday at 11, we received a call that she had lost vision in her right side and she couldn't move. So I was in class. I was in Pete's research and writing class, and I got a call from my sister, and I quickly sent her a text just saying, can't come to the phone in class. She said, call right now. It's an emergency. So I stepped out of class. I gave her a quick call, and she told me the bad news that Sam was in the hospital. We weren't sure why. So she's like, don't come yet. Stay at school. Figure it out. I was like, okay, that's weird. But I finished class, and I ended up going to the hospital where they had already administered a drug called TPA, which is tissue plasminogen activator. It's basically used to treat stroke patients because what they had found when they did an MRI is that she had a blood clot in her brain. It's pretty uncommon for a 20-year-old. Less than 1% of people under the age of 25 will ever deal with stroke. The number is actually 0.35% of people. And my seemingly healthy nursing student sister is one of those 0.35%. So she was taken by the STARS team up to Calgary Foothills Hospital because they have a stroke specialist there, and she was looked after there. They did heart tests, brain tests, blood tests, every test you can imagine, and they still don't know what caused it and if it'll happen again. So it was a pretty tense weekend. I guess the one benefit was, though, that our family was all together, so even though it wasn't in the typical way, it still was nice to be around everybody. So I guess the worst part about this weekend was the waiting, the not knowing, and the fear that if they don't figure out what happened, it could happen again. Now, I didn't come up here to imply that my family situation was bigger than Carla Rouse, the Lethbridge resident who was attacked outside of her place of employment last week, who's also recovering at the Foothills Hospital, like my sister, or the Saudi airstrike in Yemen that left 140 people dead, or the Hurricane Matthew that we just heard about so eloquently by Josh that ravaged coastlines and left countless people dead or unaccounted for, or even the presidential debate where Donald Trump made countless sexist, hurtful, and ignorant comments about women. No, all of these are very significant, they all hurt people, and they permanently affect the people involved. But the difference is that none of these that I read in the news were my sister. I was there the day that she was born, I watched her take her first steps, and I watched her on her first day of kindergarten get her driver's license and graduate from high school. And I watched her also become one of the most intelligent and kind-hearted people I've ever met. And I was there the day that she was rushed to the hospital, and the day that we were told they don't know why this happened to a healthy 20-year-old woman. So, current events. For some, they're statistics, news stories, and page fillers. But just keep in mind that for every one of those stories, there's a family of the people that are featured in them that they can't translate the pain to on a catchy headline or a news